Despite the small changes to the personalization options introduced with every iteration of the Windows operating system, the advanced window color and appearance options have remained the same. Not only has the tired and tried square look been maintained despite the advances presented in the default settings, the interface has maintained the same bugs throughout. We access the advanced options by right-clicking the mouse and selecting Personalize. Clicking on the arrow theme will return the display to its default state. Clicking on another theme, like Scenes for instance, will demonstrate the small differences between the themes, as the clever bottom demonstrates. The sole window color changes from sky to violet. The desktop background changes from the beautifully simple beta to one of the artistic images cycled every half hour. And finally, the sound scheme changes. All the specific options can be further customized by clicking one of the links. As window color most clearly defines the look and feel of the theme, we are solely concerned with its specifics. We are presented with a variety of colors that will change the color of our Windows borders, start menu, and taskbar. The user is presented with additional options to change the single color, transparency, color intensity, probably closer to opacity, and color mixer. Despite the variety of colors presented, many of them will not perform well or as expected. For example, click on Frost. Although the color does change as promised, the white font color does not. With the default level of color intensity, the change is reasonable. However, once we remove the transparency or increase the color intensity, the change is unreasonable. The presentation completely changes. Without the normal contrast, the text takes times longer to read than it previously did, making it clearly unusable. Thus, this interface encourages the user to select options that they will be unable to use by presenting them as recommended. Although the interface does readily allow poor design decisions by the user, developers did make some good decisions. Open the color mixer and then click on one of the suggested colors above. The color intensity changes despite not being mathematically related to any of the color mixer values. Hue, saturation, and brightness are intrinsically tied to any color selection, but the color intensity is programmed to change to maintain a usable theme. These color mixer options give the user the tools to repair the white foreground text and background color to a reasonable contrast. By increasing the saturation or diminishing the brightness, a color can be used without transparency. Nevertheless, using this interface, the user will never be able to select a light color and disable transparency due to the lack of contrast. Click on Advanced Appearance Settings to see what else we can do. The Advanced Appearance Settings open the standard Windows color and appearance interface used at least as far back as Windows 98. Contrary to the simplicity of having the same Windows shapes in the default and standard options, the user is now presented with the old square windows, while the dialog and other windows maintain the new rounded transparency interface. To see how this fails to perform, click on an identifiable element from the item drop-down select list. Active title bar is extremely clear. Change the color to something completely different from its current hue. A bright red will usually work. The color of the example interface will change. Click on Apply to see these settings reflected in the display. Depending on which item you selected, change may or may not be presented. 3D objects will have a different color, but will not. This strange dichotomy between how the user expects the appearance to behave and the actions of the windows is frustrating, only serving to complicate the interaction and discourage future use. To actually change the active title bar, we must return to the square window system. Return to the main personalization page by either canceling the advanced settings and then saving changes on the window color screen, or by selecting the option from the right-click menu list. Scroll down to the basic and high contrast themes. Do not click on the Windows 7 Basic, and it will present the same problems previously experienced. The best choice is usually selecting Windows Classic, the Windows 98 default theme, though you should choose a theme mostly closely related to your planned color scheme. Clicking on the theme will automatically look and feel we have grown weary of, returning to the look and feel we have grown weary of in the last 10 years. Click on Window Color to go directly to the Window Color and Appearance window, skipping the new options that caused so much trouble previously. From the Window Color and Appearance, everything should work without fail, especially after a decade of use. Selecting each item from the list, notice that not all elements are reflected in the example interface. Though many of these item elements will have familiar names, some do not. Users will have to apply changes and test themes to see if they perform well. Sadly, they do not. Notice that active window border and inactive window border both control both borders. Clicking between them will demonstrate that the values are in fact tied together. Although having a bigger active window might seem like a clever magnification idea, the user will not be able to use it. However, this problem is nothing in comparison to the other tied values. The message box item allows the user to change the font of the message box, which is suitably included in the forefront of the example interface window. Change all the values. Notice that the text inside the active scroll section color also changes. This is certainly not the message box text, but maybe changing the window item will counteract this mistake. Select Window from the item list and change the color of Color 1 and Color 2 beneath it. Window's font color also changes the message box color. These two items are also tied together despite no logical relation between them. The window color must necessarily be readable, because most of the system's text and content will appear here. However, the message box background color is chosen by the 3D objects item. Thus, a common problem arises in actually customizing these elements, because the interface does not allow changing them individually. This significant program design decision prevents the success of user-created dark high contrast or highly saturated themes with interesting colors like purple and green demonstrated in this example. Thus, the new arrow themes cannot have successful light, non-transparent color schemes, and the classic themes cannot have dark color schemes. If they complemented each other a bit more, the set might work. Clearly, future work is needed in this area.